Can
we have some Leo and Glazy music on?
Yeah.
Right then, where's that going now?
Hello and welcome back to From a Lancashire Lass with me, Lucy Baxter. Today I'm here in Nelson at the home of luxury linen company Peter Reid, and before I have a tour of the mill and see some of their beautiful linen close up, I'm going to be chatting to the Managing Director Sean Clayton all about the company. A huge thank you for allowing me to come today to chat to you a little bit about Peter Reid and where the company and business came about. Will you just start by talking to me about how it did start? So obviously it was in 1861. Talk to me a little bit about that story.
So basically, so Peter Reid, as a real life individual, he saw, they were weavers of fabrics, but he saw a niche opening to create bedding. So back in that day, obviously that wasn't around. So he decided to go into the bedding market. Started to create their own bedding, and really from there it started to grow. People got to know about the quality of the bedding that was being manufactured here, and basically the word got out that they were creating some of the best fabrics in the world and creating the best linens in the world. And in those days it was very much, again, they were a little bit like Henry Ford. You could have whatever colour you wanted as long as it was white. Probably working on, say, 2 or 3 qualities of fabrics in them days, using Egyptian cotton and Sea Island cotton. They started to create bedding for the manor houses, stately homes and things. But in them days, obviously, unlike today where you can go as a tourist to see them, those were real life working manor houses. So they started to create and work with those guys, and the word got out, the word started to spread that the bedding was obviously better than anything else anybody had ever seen. And it just grew from there, and at one point they had the largest weaving shed, number of weaving looms in Europe. I think they have nearly 900 looms, and we're a big employer of people in this area. And really the story has just grown from there. You know, they've created to what is today. We offer, in those days in 1861 they would have offered 2 or 3 products. We're offering now hundreds of different products, but we've always kept close to our roots, which is 100% cotton. We've always used the finest fibres, so Egyptian cotton, Supima cotton, Sea Island cotton, Giza cottons, so all extra long staple fibres, which gives the fabric its longevity, its durability, and gives people a product that lasts a long time.
So I was going to ask what makes you stand out compared to kind of other competitors in the field. You kind of touched on a few things there, but kind of what really makes Peter Reid stand out from the market?
I think it's because we've got a fantastic story. So if you look at the world of bedding now, especially luxury bedding, there aren't many brands that started in 1861 and are actually still going as a manufacturing. So Peter Reid started manufacturing his bedding in 1861 in Lancashire, and we've always manufactured the bed linen in Lancashire. So we've never gone offshore, we've never gone out to subcontract, we've never sort of used agencies, companies. So there are brands out there with the same startup age as we have, but they don't manufacture. So where, for example, we have Italian brands that have been going since 1860, 1870, but they're manufacturing in India, or they've subcontracted, or they're manufacturing to a third party. So when you actually look at the luxury linen, bed linen arena, there's very few of the well-known brands that have their own manufacturing unit. So we've kept manufacturing in Lancashire, we've kept manufacturing our own brand in-house, we've kept using local skills, and we've always been true to our roots of 100% cotton. So we don't use polyester blends and things like that. It's always the 100% cotton, and we always use the extra long staple fibres. So we've always created bedding using the best of what's available. Yeah, be it local skills, be it the cotton, be it the sort of the finishing of the product. So 2008 we stopped weaving here in this site, purely because we could weave the fabric, but we couldn't have it finished because there wasn't the resources to finish wide width. So at that point we sent the fabric to Italy. So we carried on weaving a little bit, sent it to Italy, and then it was basically it got to a stage where it was more cost effective and gave us a better quality to bring it in from Italy. So we've been working with 2 factories in Italy now for 15 years. So they understand the quality that we expect. I know that how they operate. So we've got a good working relationship. So I always sort of say to people, if you want the best apple pie, you start off by putting the best apples in.
Yeah.
And if you want the best linens, you start off with the raw materials. You know, you always, the one thing that we don't do, we don't skimp and save and try and save money by buying things cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay, we negotiate to get better prices, but we don't cheapen the product by putting cheap raw materials in. So basically, what makes us different to other people, we've kept to our roots, we've kept to our story since 1861. Nothing's changed from the story that we have, and we basically give people what it says on the tin. We don't sort of make up stories. I'm 3rd generation of textile weavers. So my granddad had a weaving factory, my dad still has a weaving factory. So I've been brought up and all my education and training has been done in the production of fabric. This is why we wanted to try and create a totally British fabric many years ago, but that didn't succeed because the resources weren't really there to do what we wanted. So yeah, you know, I work hard to try and keep manufacturing in the UK. We work with local suppliers of packaging and things like that who are all in the UK within a 30-minute drive of where we are. So I'm very much keen on keeping manufacturing in the UK.
So you joined in 2012. Talk to me about when the Royal Warrant was awarded to you and kind of what that made in difference in terms of maybe like your sales and status of being a linen.
Yeah, so 2008 we were awarded the warrant for supply to the Her Majesty the Queen. So for us, that and so the situation now is that we can still use the warrant, the Queen's warrant, until 2025 March, but we have applied. We're going down the renewal, or the applications now are in for the King's warrant.
And what's that? What is that for people who don't know what a warrant is?
Right. So basically, what a warrant is you have to be supplying to the royal household for 5 years constantly. Then you can apply for the Royal Warrant. So in that application for the Royal Warrant, it's not just how much do you invoice every year. It's very much now and moving more and more to how do you work with the local community, corporate social responsibility, environmental, recycling, working with charities, working with local education, doing the right things for the locality. You know, working with local suppliers, everything. So that's a big part of it now. And when you're awarded the warrant, so for example, if you go to Harrods, where Peter Reid is in the luxury linens there, the only brand in Harrods with the Royal Warrant is Peter Reid. So it's not something that you can buy. If you're supplying the royal household,
yeah, what's better than that? The
business has got to be right.
Yeah,
you know. It's basically telling the world that your business is, you know.
It's a seal of approval.
It's a seal of, of course it is. That's what it is basically. It's a seal of approval. And it's massively important for us because I know when I first went out representing Peter Reid in the Middle East, you go to meet the guys over there, or any international department stores that you go to, the questions are, you know, obviously tell us about Peter Reid, and then it's always, so what type of people do you deal with?
Yeah.
So I just basically say the Royal Household and Harrods, and people basically will then want to get on board and buy the product. Because to be honest, if you're good enough to be supplying the Royal Household, and you're good enough to be supplying, and you've been in Harrods for as long as we have,
And how long's that been?
about 25 years,
Yeah.
you know, something's got to work, something's got to be right. You know, Harrods don't need to deal with Peter Reid, and the Royal Household don't need to deal with Peter Reid. So we must be doing everything right to obviously, you know, sustain that relationship with these guys.
When it was awarded to you in 2008, is that something that kind of, because like you said, you have to be within the royal household for that many years before you're awarded it, is that something that the late Queen would have got in touch with the company wanting to have the linen from here, or is that something that the company would have sent to the royal family kind of to see if they would want that?
No, I think, I don't think, I know. One thing that is really good about Peter Reid, and it has been for a long, long time, is people get to hear about us and they want to be part of the club.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, the royal household would have contacted us because they would have seen us somewhere and somebody would have said, let's try the Peter Reid, blah, 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 blah. So we're very lucky that people obviously want to come and, and deal with us. So it does make opening the doors quite easy because we've got a fantastic story to tell, and we know that the product matches that as well. So, you know, a majority of people come and find us. I mean, okay, you know, we do a lot of work on getting the brand awareness of the brand.
Yeah.
But it's interesting when I go out, I never actually go out with an order book to sell product. I go out to tell people about Peter Reid.
Yeah.
And then
that's the mindset that obviously the company's got, which is why you do so well. You're not trying to push the orders and things.
No, I don't. You know, it's one of those things for me. It's one of, you know, if you want to buy bedding from Peter Reid, you can do. They know, you know, they know where we are. They know what we do. So really, it's more saying, if you want to be a member of this club, this is the type of thing that you'll get involved with.
Yeah.
And then if they want to buy, they can buy. But the type of people that we're selling to, for them, it's important for them to know that we have the warrants. It's important for them to know we supply Harrods, because as you start to sell product that becomes more and more expensive, the clients at that level are looking more for traceability, sustainability.
And that's such a kind of important thing, I guess, in the last 5 years especially, and it is a buzzword, sustainability, at the moment, with like traceability and carbon emissions and things like that. I was going to ask you about kind of how like your responsibilities, I guess, environmentally within the company.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing, is traceability and sustainability, because it's the buzzword. Everybody talks about it. Everybody's doing it, or are they? What we tend to do is, or what I sort of lead the business to be, is rather than me, because I could just sit in front of anybody and say, oh, we do this, we do that, we do the other, oh yeah, we do that as well, we do this. I don't do that. We work with accreditation companies like Positive Luxury, like GOTS, like Planet Mark and Living Wage and things. These are all externally audited. So when I say, you know, we're accredited to Planet Mark, all people have to do is look at our certificate number, trace it to Planet Mark, and we're there. Yeah. So, you know, I there is a lot of, you know, there are people out there that basically say we are doing this. I mean, I can see it when people advertise. We have some product that is GOTS, which is wholly traceable, 100% traceable, but it's expensive because of all the processes that it's being monitored through and things. You know, I know the selling price of that, and I see this sort of product on things like Instagram, and the price it's being sold on Instagram is no chance. There's absolutely no way is it GOTS. Yeah. And when we advertise GOTS, we have the certificate number that goes with it. So that's our traceability back to GOTS to say we are accredited. A lot of these other people don't have that. So it's like, you know, yes, this product is GOTS. So where is your certificate? Where's the number to go back to? So for me, it's important that we have proper accreditation where external people will come in, audit the business. So basically, you know, if we're saying we're doing something, we get audited against it.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing it, you just lose your certification. So for me, it's important to have it externally audited, and then you can just say to people, look, if you don't want to listen to me, just go and check and do your own work. So it is the buzzword. A lot of people are jumping on the back of it, but for us, it's in our DNA. It's how we operate. It's what it's not. It might be difficult to administer, but it's not difficult for us to do it because that's what we do. And when I talk to new brands, will talk to me about we're thinking of creating a new brand. We want to enter bedding, blah 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 blah. And basically, you just say to them, well, what's your story? What's behind you? And a lot of them, obviously, they don't have it because they're only starting brand new.
Yeah.
So when they go into the market, the only way they're not established. So what tends to happen then is it becomes a bit of a discount thing. Well, no one's ever heard of you. If you sell your bedding at half price, well, there'll be a market. So you start off as a discount brand, and it's difficult. Or people just say, I don't think we'll bother. And they don't bother because they realise, there's a lot of brands out there that have just started up. So to enter that market again without a good story, without something behind you, it's very difficult.
What's your kind of take on the organic cotton and those types of products in terms of, like you were saying, people are wanting environmental? What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, GOTS is a totally organic product, yeah, but it's expensive. So
what's the price difference?
So basically, I just using numbers, if 100% cotton is £10 a metre, the GOTS organic will be £30 a metre.
Yeah.
And what we do tend to get is that everybody wants to save the world, but they don't want to pay a lot of money to do it. So we offer that GOTS product to the people who absolutely understand what it's all about.
Yeah.
So that's available. The rest of our product is traceable and stuff. We do have organic in there, but the rest of it, it's basically all organic. It's all the two suppliers that we use. We have a supplier manual and things that they'll have to adhere to. So both the companies that will work hard on sustainability, environmental, energy use, making sure the cotton and things is coming from the right places and everything like that, because we tend to, the interesting thing with Egyptian cotton, some of the cottons we use, like the Supremas and things, have a DNA in them that you can trace back. Egyptian cotton sometimes might not be truly from Egypt. It's a name. People call it those things. So you have to just be careful on, I suppose for us we have the big advantage of we know what the going rate of cotton fabric is, and when you see it being sold for, I would say some of these stores now that are selling bed sets for £16 for a duvet and 2 pillowcases, I'm not sure what the raw materials will be. So we always want to be upfront and honest with what we do, and if we're just using if we're using a Giza cotton, we say it's Giza. If it's not a Giza cotton, we don't say it's a Giza cotton. So we sort of, I tend to, there's lots of things in business that keep me awake at night. Saying the wrong things can keep me awake at night, so I don't say the wrong things. We sort of basically sell what we say we're selling. Yeah.
In terms of, you mentioned Harrods, what other kind of stores or places can people purchase Peter Reid?
Yeah, so you can buy Peter Reid from John Lewis. So really the bigger stores for us is John Lewis is sort of like a premium brand for us.
Yeah.
Harrods is a luxury brand.
Yeah.
And then we have partnership with a department store in South Korea. They've been with us about 28 years, so we're in 6 department stores in South Korea, with the main one being in Seoul. We're in a company in Hong Kong, Bed and Bath in Hong Kong. Again, we've been with them about 28 years. So we tend to have long-term relationships. And then in the UK, We then have what I sort of call your traditional department stores, like family-run department stores on the high street.
Yeah.
Which are so we've got probably half a dozen of those scattered around the UK that people can go and buy Peter Reid. And most of those people, like the Harrods and John Lewis and Seymour's of Darlington, for example, have their own online as well. So basically, we're sort of well covered in the UK, and you know, we are developing our own e-commerce to sell limited product on, so that we don't sort of trip over our retail partners that are doing the same.
Have you ever done any like collaborations or specific kind of designs of things with different brands, or anything to do with like the coronation last year or anything like that?
Yeah, we don't tend to. I mean, the coronation things we sort of, if we do anything for the coronation, we'll do something like a pillowcase to put on the bed at Harrods to celebrate it. Something. Collaborations we started about 5 years ago, and for me, the reason that we wanted to do collaborations, or the reason that I drove the business into sort of doing the collaborations, was we're competing with probably about half a dozen other luxury brands in the bedding arena, who basically, like us, make pillowcases, make duvet covers. Wow, that's really exciting. So I wanted to sort of, how can we be different? So we started working with Giles Deacon, the British fashion designer, to create designs. So Giles is obviously well known for haute couture, doing the gowns for the Met Gala and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, so what's he going to do for Peter Reid? What Giles brought into the business was his design sense.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, creating work with someone like Giles Deacon, we did work with House of Hackney. We've been working now for many years with the Sarabande Foundation, which was set up by Alexander McQueen. When he died, he put money into trust for them. It gives Peter Reid that something. I don't just want Peter Reid to be a bedding manufacturer.
Mm.
I don't like being the same as everybody else. Somebody might tell you that, but I want us to be different. I want us to be, who are Peter Reid going to collaborate with next? What are they going to do next? I like to sort of challenge, and I like to sort of push the boundaries of what we can do. So when we start dealing with the fashion designers and things, it throws out this design element that you wouldn't do. I know the first time we sort of started working with Giles was, Giles sort of came up and did some designs with us, and you sort of think, what are we going to do with them? But actually what we created table linen. So we are finding now that quite a lot of fashion designers are starting to look at home.
Yeah.
Because I always remember the conversations with some of the fashion designers when we went into pandemic.
Yeah.
So for example, Giles's business stopped. There was no travel, there were no Oscars, there were no film premieres, there were nothing.
Yeah.
So then it's like, what can I do? So what they can do is they can use their creativity to roll over to bedding, to roll over to table linen.
Because everyone needs bed linen.
Everyone needs bed linen, and the market that we're in, which is the high net worth, ultra high net worth, we do a lot of special projects for these people, for super yachts, private jets, and their homes and things. So everybody's wanting something different, and the thing that Peter Reid can offer with these collaborations is something different. So they may have Giles Deacon product, fashion, and then it's suddenly
they want the home.
Want the home. And it's interesting because some of the people who bought the table linens from it that we did with Giles actually frame them and use them as art.
Wow.
So that's the sort of thing where I think, ooh, I could start selling pictures.
So would you say then, because of the level of kind of product you're in and the luxury area, have you noticed the cost of living crisis as much? Because these people with super yachts aren't going to really mind if inflation goes up and cost of stuff goes up slightly?
No, I mean we're sort of protected. We are protected in the market because of the level that we're dealing at.
Yeah.
I mean, I was speaking to, going back when the pandemic thing, the cost of living thing, I was speaking to a guy with a super yacht, and we were talking about how life has changed and things. And that week, he had to reduce the length of his super yacht by 2 metres.
Oh.
And that's...
But it's everyone's perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, he was sickened. I'm like, oh, okay then. But it's a different world, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's completely
It's
different. It's a completely different world. And yeah, you know, we are protected. We are protected from it, and we're protected from it also because we are dealing with a lot of international clients.
Yeah.
So they're here, there, and everywhere. So they're not just in one specific market. So we're protected from it. You know, we're aware of it and we're protected from it, but we're not in that market where we're sort of driven by price.
Yeah.
You know.
So back in Lancashire, the cloth is assembled, cut and finished by hand here, and obviously like with these napkins here, the embroidery and stuff that goes into it. Talk to me a little bit about that and kind of the signature Peter Reid finish on a linen.
Yeah. If you go back to the 1861, where did it all start? I mean, to this day, we have three products which we call our signature cording.
Mm-hmm.
So the signature cording is a white cord that's stitched onto the fabric, to identify. So we have 2-row cord, 4-row cord, and 5-row cord. Why do we have that? When you go back to when 1861 for the manor houses and the housekeepers were getting all the bedding, we're doing the washing and everything like that. The washing from the house all went into one big laundry. So how do you distinguish between the chambermaid's bedding and the lord of the manor when it's all white?
Yeah.
So Peter Reid created the cording system. So a 210 thread count, and this is all today, we still have this. So the 210 thread count is a 2-row cord. The 240 thread count is a 4-row cord, and the 400 thread count is a 5-row cord. And we still sell that to this day. So in a way, that was the very first laundry marks. Yeah. So basically, when it came out the wash,
you'd know which was
2 rows there, 5 rows upstairs, blah blah blah. So we've then developed that over the years to give more for the interior design special project people, to give them the chance to create colours. That cording now can be created on what we call now our classic cord. So signature cord, you can choose whatever colour you want as long as it's white.
Is this?
So that's classic cord.
Okay.
And you can have that in whatever colour you want.
Yeah. And that's obviously sewn on here.
So that's our signature cord.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
So there's 4 row, so that's the 240 thread count. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then this is a classic cord.
Yeah.
So the classic cord, you can have basically whatever colour you want. So what we find that's popular with interior designers who are sort of doing bedrooms, so they can, if they've got sort of wallpaper or curtains or carpet, they can pick the colours out. And the beauty of the Peter Reid bedding is because it's all white, you're not trying to match a print with everything else. So basically, you can buy this bed there, that white bed in there, that can stay on year in, year out, year in, year out. Yeah. And all you do is you change your cushions, your throws, and everything else.
Yeah.
Now, if that was a multicoloured print,
it ages.
It becomes seasonal. And really, I suppose if you're spending on, the sort of money that we charge for ours, you don't really want to be replacing it every year.
No.
This will last 20 years.
Yeah.
So it makes sense then to change everything else that goes with it.
Yeah.
So really for us, the cording was our main thing.
Yeah.
And then back in 1920s and things, we had embroidery was done in Madeira. Yeah. We had factories in Madeira. and that was all hand embroidered.
They're so well known for that over in Madeira.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now so embroidery is carried on. Embroidery is done here now, done by machine instead of by hand, but all the input of design and creativity is obviously done by hand and then converted onto the CAD system. So basically, we offer the cording and the embroidery. And another big advantage for people for department stores with Peter Reid is our minimum order quantity is 1.
Right.
So we do get people who want 1 pillowcase shipping to America with their initials on.
Oh.
It's what we do, and we're known for that. And I think also, especially in the UK for special projects, we can turn a project around in 20 working days.
Oh wow!
So they're not having to wait 12 weeks.
Yeah.
From overseas. So there's a lot of big advantages through manufacturing here.
And your kind of quality checks. So we'll go in a minute to kind of look around where things are assembled, etc. But what's your kind of when it's kind of like this? What would be the last kind of quality check before it gets sent out to the customer?
So every individual is doing a quality check as they're doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, they have to ensure that when they hand it to their colleagues, it's perfect. I sort of the standard level for me is perfection.
Yes.
Now I know it's easy to say that, but that's what we aim for. So basically, everybody is quality checking their own work, and then the final stage will be where it comes to packing. And in packing, everything gets ironed, folded, checked, for any faults. And if there's anything found at that stage, it gets stopped. Or somebody will come and see me and say, look, because we spot things that a lot of people wouldn't spot.
Yeah.
Because we're looking like that.
You're looking for it.
So, but no, I mean, basically, my expectations are that when people receive a Peter Reid product, they open the product and they go wow, and they go wow because it's spectacular, not wow because it's poor quality.
Yeah.
And the team's been here a long time. They know the level that we're looking at. My fabric suppliers know the level that we're looking at.
Yeah.
My training, my upbringing is in fabric manufacturing, so they know I understand fabric. So, I know the faults and everything. So basically, everybody, we've had they're all experienced. They've all been here a long time. They understand the end result.
And how many team members have you got?
So basically, we've got about nine in production. And that's
not as many as you'd think for as a company.
No.
Well.
I mean, it's interesting because basically, when I sort of go out and talk to people and they sort of say, well, how many people work for Peter Reid? And I say, 11. And they say, yeah, but how many people work in the factory? 11. Right, okay, so how big is the sales team? Part of the 11. So yeah, so Peter Reid International has 11 people working for it. But we're not a volume business.
No.
I have conversations with people who sort of say, look, if you could bring your prices right down, we could give you some great volume. I don't need great volume. And it's like, really? I said, no, we don't need great volume. The level that we operate at isn't great volume.
No.
It's quality. And this is what I always, the team here, nobody's on a production related bonus. Because for me it's all about quality. We know in our own minds how long things take, but for me it's about making sure it's perfect.
Yeah. With that in mind, I guess my final question was about the future of Peter Reid and where you're hoping for the business to kind of go in the next 10, 20, etc. years.
Well, 20 years I won't be here, so go where it wants. No, I mean, for me I still believe there's a big job to be done in getting Peter Reid established internationally, and that's what we're working on now. I know we've got a fantastic supply chain. I know we've got a fantastic team on board here. I know we've got a fantastic story. So the initial thing is to get that story out into the world. And that's why we've now got our own in-house marketing, which we never had before. So for me, it's like we need to tell the story. And so that's what we're doing. We're telling the story of Peter Reid, and it's interesting. And not a lot of local people know we're here.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, well, perhaps we tell the locals we're here. Do you know what I mean? So we believe we've got a fantastic story. I know that the product can stand any test out there in the world. So for me, it's about attacking the international market. You know, China, Japan, the States. You know, we need to push. We need to get Peter Reid out there. We need to bring the next generation in.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of training to do, a lot of education to do, working with local schools and colleges. So for me, it's about building the brand. It's about attacking the international markets. It's about bringing the next generation in to keep it going. And really just those that continue with the collaborations to make us a little bit different, so that we've always got a fresh story to tell. And I think really it's a case of, I always sort of think, well, how do we, when you look at the market, we're sort of like popular with, the older people because they've got cash to spend and blah, 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 blah. But there's a lot of young ones with a lot of money to spend. So how do we give it a broader image so that it attracts a younger element as well? So it's all about, so really I suppose in that, it's a little bit like succession planning. I'm looking for the next generation of team.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the younger generation who's going to buy Peter Reid. So we always, the plan is sort of to create bedding for children, so that as they grow up, they'll always want Peter Reid. So it's all about succession planning, be it the next generation of the team here, the next generation of clients. But we'll always, as long as I'm around, we'll always manufacture here in Lancashire, because that's the story. We'll always work with cotton, and we'll just keep continuing to work with the royal household to maintain that closeness with the royal household.
There'll be many questions and comments probably as people are watching this video as to why I'm not pushing you more on the royal household questions. But like you said before we started filming, you can't kind of say what linen they have, what they use, who uses it, and that's obviously kind of part of the relationship with them. Yeah,
I think the royal house. It's like when we're dealing with high net worth clients, we know who those high net worth clients are. It's not for me to say what they're sleeping.
Yeah,
it's private.
Yeah,
so a big thing for us is, as we're sort of creating special projects for people and we're dealing with the royal house, commercial sensitivity, confidentiality is critical.
Yeah.
I mean, I did some work with the royal household, and one of the comments was they like that we never do anything, we never say anything about the royal household. We display the Royal Warrant because we're proud to do, but we never said we just don't post pictures of the royals every day and blah blah
it's
blah.
It's the
blah.
professionalism that they'll appreciate.
Yeah, and it's it is private, isn't it? It's like I mean I don't do Facebook, I don't do Instagram, because my private life is my private life.
Yeah.
So it's not for me, is it, to divulge what other people have in the bedrooms and things like that. Do you know what I mean? So we don't divulge what the household do. We don't divulge what a lot of our clients do. Harrods is not a problem because it's on the shop floor. John Lewis is not a problem because it's on the shop floor. But we get a lot of requests for private logos, for monograms, for crests, for blah blah blah. So that's what these people do. So
have you been to the palace?
Several times.
It's exciting.
I mean, for me, I've been, I'm lucky enough to do, Kensington, Windsor, Sandringham, the Buckingham Palace. I've been to garden parties. I'm lucky to have that chance. I'm proud to have that chance. And it's you're never totally relaxed, because you don't know when you're in the palace what's going to happen. Who might knock on the door and something like. So no, I mean, I'm honoured to be able to do that and represent Peter Reid to do that, and and you know, to have the warrant is great for the brand.
Yeah.
And we'll do what we have to do, and you know, you have to keeping, you know, I'm sort of like the keeper of the warrant, as in how we advertise it, how we talk about it, how it's promoted, because some people say, well, do you know, if we get the warrant, can we choose our own colours and things? It's like, no, because there's strict rules from the Lord Chamberlain's office that you have to follow.
Okay.
And simple.
That's it, yeah.
Because you can, it takes a lot of getting as a warrant, but you can lose it quite quickly.
Yeah.
So you always, I'm always mindful of what I'm seeing, what's happening to it. So you know, for me, part of my job is to protect our relationship with the household.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for chatting to me all about that.
You're welcome.
And I think we'll go and take a look in.
Have a look round.
Yeah.
So that was the specific colour. We had the Pantone, so we could match the Pantone for that design. And again, for these, those cut, the red and the blue, are an actual Pantone, and that was the design for Charles for the coronation. So the fabric comes into us either on pallets or in roll, and the rolls, as I said earlier, tends to be, John Lewis will take a 210 thread count 2-row cord, so we'll buy 1,000 metres of fabric. If Joe Smith wants a super yacht with 2 berths of a red cotton, that'll come in on a roll, so we don't end up buying 1,000 metres when we only want to use 50 metres. Yeah. So the first process is cutting, which Paulina does. So again, everything is cut by hand. So here, Paulina is taking from the pallets the fabric for the orders, and that can be US sizing, UK sizing, European sizing, bespoke sizes for super yachts, different shapes. So this is the first process. When the fabric's cut, it's then put into trucks, and it can either go upstairs for making up and cording, or it can come here for embroidery. And you shout, and then the machine stops, and everybody says, "Why are you shouting?" These come from Germany, because I'm sort of fairly keen on good engineering.
Yeah.
Again, it's all part and parcel of what we're producing, so we like to have sort of the good machinery to be able to create the good product. Because of the lights and things, it has that oscillating effect on it. Okay. So this is where we actually put together the duvets, the pillowcases, the fitted sheets, the flat sheets, and we do the cording up here. We can see what the quality is like, because we're not just throwing them down the conveyor belt. You know, everything's sort of, you know, measured. Or you can get 3 pallets for John Lewis to go out. So that's how we operate. Yeah.